For years, I would wake up in the middle of the night with back pain so intense it made me break out in a cold sweat. It didn't matter the position, the mattress, or how many pillows I used. The pain always came back. It wouldn't let me sleep, and worst of all, it wouldn't let me live during the day either. I tried everything. Heat patches, menthol creams, massages that promised instant relief. I even ended up taking medications that left me drowsy, but the pain was still there. Only now I was also groggy and tired all the time. My routine became a prison. I got up slowly, moved carefully, and every step was a negotiation with my back. Some people say you get used to pain. I didn't. I suffered it. I hated it. And every day I felt older, weaker, more frustrated. Until one day, without looking for it, I found something so simple that at first it made me laugh. An oil. Yes, an oil. Nothing more. It was recommended to me as a natural remedy. Try it for 3 nights, they said. And since I had nothing left to lose, I did. What happened next, honestly, still surprises me. On the 3rd night, I slept straight through for the first time in months. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not dressing it up. That night I felt something I had forgotten. Rest. Today, I no longer use patches, nor do I take painkillers. Since then, this oil has become part of my life, and that's why I'm here. Because if you also suffer from back pain, I want to tell you exactly what this oil is, how I use it, and why it truly works. Stay with me, because this story can change your life the way it changed mine. And before we go on, I'd love to know something about you. Do you also suffer from back pain? How many years old are you, and where are you watching this from? Tell me in the comments. I love reading what you share. My back pain didn't start with an accident, nor with a fall. It began the way many things start when you get older, little by little, quietly. I remember I was 67 years old when I began to feel a slight discomfort right in my lower back. I thought it was from sleeping badly, or because I had lifted something with poor posture. Nothing serious, nothing urgent. Something that would go away on its own, as always. But it didn't go away. Weeks went by, and that slight discomfort turned into constant pain. At first it only hurt when I got up in the morning. Then it began to hurt when I sat for a long time. After that, when walking. And before I knew it, the pain was there all the time. It didn't matter if I moved or not. It was there, like a heavy shadow that followed me everywhere. My daily routine changed without my realizing it. I stopped taking long walks. I began to avoid bending down. Sometimes I was even afraid to sneeze because of the jolt I felt in my back. And when winter came, the pain intensified so much that I spent entire days sitting in one place, not moving any more than necessary. Then came the quick fixes. The first was acetaminophen, paracetamol, then ibuprofen, then combinations of both, sometimes with a stronger anti-inflammatory that a neighbor recommended. And yes, at first they helped, but only for a few hours. Then the pain came back stronger, and my stomach began to suffer. I tried menthol creams, the kind that leave your skin burning. Surface relief. Then came the patches. I used them religiously, one after another. I bought them in packs. Some nights they seemed to work, but it wasn't real relief. It was as if the patch numbed the pain a little, but never cured it. And when the effect wore off, the pain reminded me it was still there, waiting. I went to a physical therapist. He gave me massages, taught me exercises. I tried with enthusiasm, with discipline. But every time I seemed to improve, one wrong move ruined everything. It was like building a house on sand. And while all this was happening, something else was deteriorating. My mood. I began to depend on others for simple things. I asked for help to stand up, to get out of the car, to reach something on the shelf. And with each favor I asked, I felt I lost a bit of my independence, a bit of my dignity. Nights were the worst. I was afraid to go to bed because I knew I wouldn't be able to sleep. I moved as if my body were rusted. Sometimes I managed to fall asleep, but the pain woke me up in the middle of the night. I sat on the bed, in silence, staring into the dark, not knowing what to do. Take another pill. Wait. Endure. At that age, you start to feel old, not because of wrinkles or white hair, but because of the exhaustion of pain, because of the sensation that your body is failing you, that you're no longer the same, that you're slowly dimming. And so I was for years, living with constant discomfort, seeking momentary relief without finding a real solution. Until, unexpectedly, life showed me another option, an option that didn't come in a pill bottle or in camphor-scented patches. But I'll tell you about that in the next part. One of the first things they recommended for my back pain was using patches. They're great, they told me. You put one on, and within minutes you feel relief. And they were right. The first time I tried it, I felt a warm tingling on my skin, and the pain, although it didn't disappear completely, became more tolerable. That gave me hope. So I began to use them every day. I applied them to my lower back, right where I felt the pain concentrated. Some patches contained camphor, others capsaicin, others anti-inflammatories. They all promised the same thing: fast, localized relief. What no one told me, and I didn't think to ask, was how they really worked. Patches don't cure the problem. They mask it. They act on the skin and send a signal to the brain that there's heat or cold or a change in the area. That signal competes with the pain signal. And while the brain gets distracted by that new sensation, the pain seems to lessen. But it's still there. It hasn't gone. What's more, with continuous use, the body gets used to it. What calmed things at first, over time stopped having an effect. It was as if my back became immune. And then I started putting on 2 patches instead of 1, or changing them more often. Without realizing it, I was falling into a kind of dependence. And that's not to mention the side effects. In my case, I began to notice my skin getting irritated. Red spots appeared, small sores. Sometimes it burned even after removing the patch. The skin no longer breathed. And the smell, that strong smell that seeped into my clothes and the room, as if constantly reminding me that I was ill. With painkillers, it was similar. I took acetaminophen, and when that wasn't enough, I switched to ibuprofen, then to stronger combinations. And yes, they relieved me, for a few hours. But afterward, the pain returned, sometimes more intensely. And in the meantime, my stomach suffered. I felt bloated, acidic, with no appetite. There was one day that changed everything. One morning, in a rush or by distraction, I didn't put on the patch. I realized too late, when I was already out of the house. And within hours, the pain returned with an intensity I hadn't felt in a long time. It was as if my body rebelled, as if it shouted at me, "Where is that thing you were giving me?" That afternoon, as I writhed in pain in my chair, I understood something I hadn't wanted to accept. I was depending on momentary, superficial relief that solved nothing. It was like putting a lukewarm cloth over something burning inside. A consolation that soothed, but didn't heal. A patch, literally and figuratively, that only hid a much deeper problem. I began to wonder if there was another way. If something existed that didn't just trick the body for a few hours, but truly helped it. Something more natural, kinder to the body. Something without that cruel rebound effect. That question led me, unknowingly, to a solution I never imagined. And that changed my life. But before we get there, I have to tell you how I found it. It was a Sunday afternoon. I was at home, sitting with a blanket over my legs and my back aching after trying to arrange some flower pots in the yard. I turned on the TV, but even that couldn't distract me from the discomfort. Then the phone rang. It was my younger sister. She is 74 years old, but she has an energy I've always envied. She lives in a small town, the kind where everyone knows each other, and where many things are still healed with herbs, infusions, and mysterious jars passed down from generation to generation. After catching up, I told her, almost out of habit, that the back pain wouldn't leave me alone. She fell silent for a few seconds, as if searching for the right words, and said, "What if you tried a natural oil we use around here? It's helped several of my friends a lot." I admit that at that moment I held back from laughing. An oil? Was that it? After creams, patches, pills, and massages with little electric gadgets, was an oil going to cure me? I thanked her for the intention, but I told her I'd already tried everything. She insisted calmly, as she always has. You don't have to believe me. Just try it for 3 nights. If it doesn't help, throw it away, and that's it. Being the good sister she is, the next day she mailed me a bottle of that famous oil. It arrived a few days later, carefully wrapped and accompanied by a handwritten note that said, "Trust the simple." 3 nights. That's all. I looked at the bottle skeptically. The smell was strong, herbal, almost medicinal. I read the label. Natural ingredients, no additives, no chemicals. It looked more like a grandma's recipe than a serious treatment. But anyway, she was right. I had nothing to lose. The first night I applied it with a bit of disdain. I put some in my palm, rubbed it over my lower back, and massaged as she had told me. It was a thick, warm oil that absorbed slowly. The smell reminded me of the old neighborhood apothecary that closed years ago. I went to bed expecting nothing, and as usual, I woke up in the middle of the night with the same old pain. The second night I repeated the process, this time a bit more carefully. I warmed the oil between my hands and massaged more deeply. I think I slept a few minutes more than usual, but the pain was still there, though perhaps a little less sharp. The third night was different. I don't know if it was the oil, the massage, or that my body was crying out for rest, but I slept. I slept without interruptions, as I hadn't done in months. I woke up in the morning and stayed still for a few seconds, waiting for that usual lash. But it didn't come. I sat up in bed, cautiously. I moved slowly. And then I knew. Something had changed. Was the pain still there? A little, yes. But it was different. Milder. More bearable. As if my body were finally beginning to relax. That day, I didn't need patches or pills. That day, for the first time in a long time, I felt in control of my body. And all because of that small bottle of oil that had arrived from the countryside, thanks to an unexpected call. Sometimes the answers aren't in what's modern or complicated. Sometimes the simplest thing is what truly works. All right, it's time to tell you what that famous oil is that changed my life. It's called magnesium oil. And no, it's not an oil like the ones used for cooking. It also doesn't have artificial fragrances or industrial additives. It's a concentrated solution of magnesium chloride diluted in pure water, applied directly to the skin as if it were a body oil. It absorbs quickly, doesn't stain, and its effect is more powerful than many imagine. I confess I knew nothing about magnesium when I tried it. To me, it was just another word you see on supermarket supplements. But when I began to research, I realized it's one of the most important minerals for our body, especially after 60. Magnesium takes part in more than 300 biological functions. It helps relax muscles, improves nerve function, and reduces inflammation in the joints. It's like a natural firefighter inside the body. When there's a magnesium deficiency, which is very common in older people, muscles tense up, nerves get overloaded, and pain appears without a clear cause. What's interesting about magnesium oil is that it isn't taken by mouth. It's absorbed through the skin. This prevents stomach irritation or overworking the kidneys. Also, when applied right to the painful area, its effect is faster and more localized. Many small studies and clinical experiences have shown that applying magnesium topically helps reduce cramps, muscle stiffness, chronic pain, and even sleep problems, especially in older adults who often no longer absorb nutrients well through the digestive tract. But beyond the studies, what convinced me most was what I felt. Using it for several nights, I noticed how my back relaxed more quickly, how the burning gradually disappeared, and how I could move more freely. I no longer woke up with that stiffness that made me feel 80 years old before my day even began. And the most surprising thing is that it had no side effects. No acidity, no dizziness, no skin spots. On the contrary, I felt my body thanking me for giving it something it truly needed. Many people have asked me if it's the same as using a pain cream or a commercial gel. The answer is no. Most of those creams have a surface effect. They create heat or cold to distract the brain, but they don't act on the real cause of the pain. Plus, many are loaded with chemicals that, with prolonged use, can damage the skin or create tolerance. By contrast, magnesium oil is simple, natural, and goes straight to the point. It doesn't mask the problem. It eases it at the root. It relaxes the muscle, calms the nerve, and gives the body a tool that, with age, becomes increasingly scarce. Since I've used it, I recommend it without hesitation. I'm not saying it's a magic cure, nor that it works the same for everyone. But I do know what it did for me. And I know what it can do for many people who today, perhaps like you, are looking for a way out of the pain they've been dragging around for months or years. And if that's your case, stay with me, because now I'm going to tell you exactly how I use it each night to get the best possible result. It's not just what you use, but how you use it. With magnesium oil, I understood something very important. It's not enough to have a good tool. You need to know how to use it. During the first few days, I simply applied it to my back and went to bed. And yes, it helped. But over time, and with a few small changes in my routine, I discovered the results could be much better. Today I'm going to tell you exactly how I use it, step by step, as if we were face to face, because maybe this can help you too. First, I apply it at night, always before sleeping. Why? Because that's when the body relaxes, regenerates, and is more receptive to natural treatments. Also, when we sleep, the muscles let go of tension, and the oil can do its work more deeply. Before applying it, I take a hot shower or press a warm towel on my back. This isn't mandatory, but it makes a big difference. Heat opens the pores, relaxes the area, and allows the oil to absorb much better. Sometimes I simply use a hot water bottle for 10 minutes before applying it. Then I dry off well and place a towel on the bed, just in case. Although magnesium oil doesn't stain, I prefer to protect the sheets. I also wear thin cotton gloves so my hands don't get irritated with daily use. I apply between 10 and 15 drops directly to my lower back and massage with slow, circular motions. I use my fingertips without pressing too hard. The massage not only helps the oil penetrate, it also gets circulation going, which helps relieve pain as well. I do this for about 5 minutes. It's an almost meditative moment. I focus only on the massage, on the heat it generates, on how the tension slowly lets go. Afterward, I let the oil act for at least 20 minutes before putting on my sleepwear. Many people rinse it off after a while, but I prefer to leave it on all night. Sometimes it can tingle a bit at first. That's normal. But if the sensation is too strong, I remove it with a damp cloth after a few minutes. And here's something important. I paired it with other simple but powerful habits. Every morning, I do gentle back stretches without forcing it. I hydrate better, drink more water, and I reduced a bit the foods that inflame me. It seems small, but when you add up several small gestures, the result is huge. Another thing, not all magnesium oils are the same. Some are so diluted they have no effect. Others contain preservatives or perfumes that irritate the skin. I use one of natural origin, with no added chemicals, that comes in a dark bottle to preserve its purity. Always look at the label and the source. If you can get an artisanal one, or from a trusted herbalist's shop, even better. This routine, repeated every night, was what made the difference in my life. It's not a miracle, nor an instant cure, but with consistency, the body responds. And it does so in such a noble way that you realize maybe it was never broken. It just needed a different kind of help. Now that you know how I use it, in the next part I want to tell you what other benefits I began to notice. Because what started as a solution for my back ended up transforming much more. Sleep again, live again. I never thought something so simple could transform so much. The first night sleeping without pain felt like a blessing. I woke without that stiffness in my back that made me walk hunched over for the first few minutes of the day. I no longer had to sit on the edge of the bed taking deep breaths, waiting for my body to start up. I got up more nimbly and, most surprising of all, with the desire to do things. That was the first change I noticed. the energy. It came back to me as if it had been hiding for years. I started moving more around the house, organizing drawers that had been forgotten for months. Going out to the sidewalk without fearing the pain would make me turn back in 5 minutes. I truly felt that my body was responding, that it was there to serve me, not to constantly remind me that I was getting older. My mood changed too. For a long time I lived under a cloud. Not depression exactly, but a kind of chronic sadness. That feeling that everything is hard, that nothing improves, that you can only resign yourself. But when the body improves, the mind does too. I started laughing more, enjoying the small moments more. Even the way I spoke changed. I went back to having conversations where not everything revolved around my pain, but without a doubt, what I'm most grateful for is having regained part of my independence. Before, I needed help for many things. To get out of bed, to put on my shoes, to bend down to pick something up. Now I do most of those things by myself. And there's no more powerful feeling than that. Being the owner of your movements again. Feeling again that your body belongs to you, and not that it's a prison limiting every decision of the day. Little by little, I began to use fewer medications. I stopped taking painkillers every day. I only used them in specific cases, and less and less. The patches, stored in a drawer, began to gather dust. And that, for me, is a small victory I silently celebrate every night. I remember the day I went for a walk in the park on my own, without a cane and without fear. I went slowly, of course, but I went. I felt the air on my face, the sun on my shoulders, and I sat on a bench with a smile I hadn't worn in a long time. That was when I fully understood. It wasn't just my back that had improved. I had gotten my life back. And all thanks to an unexpected call. I still thank my sister every time we talk. She doesn't know it, but that small gesture, sending me a little bottle of oil and a handwritten note, was one of the most important acts anyone has done for me. I'm sharing this with you now because I know I'm not the only one. There are many people out there, maybe you, watching this, who believe pain is an inevitable sentence, who think nothing can change anymore, who've resigned themselves to a life of limitations, pills, and sleepless nights. But it doesn't have to be that way. I'm not saying everything is solved from one day to the next, or that all pain disappears with a simple oil. But what I am saying, with all my heart, is that it's worth trying. Because sometimes, with a small decision, a very big change can begin. And that change, believe me, feels like coming back to life. After living with back pain for so long, I understood that one of the worst enemies wasn't just the pain, but the mistakes I myself made without realizing it. Small things, almost invisible, that repeated day after day, kept the pain from ever leaving. That's why I want to share with you the most common mistakes many people make, including me, when they suffer from back pain. If you can avoid them, you're already one step ahead. First mistake, staying completely still. I did this many times. The pain was so strong that I thought, I'd better lie down and not move. And sure, in the moment I felt some relief, but afterward, when trying to get up, everything was worse. Muscles harden, circulation stalls, and the back gets even weaker. The body needs to move, even if it's gentle, slow, little by little. Walk a bit around the house, stretch, change position every half hour. All of that helps more than staying still like a statue. Absolute rest, except in extreme cases, only feeds the pain. Second mistake, self-medicating without control. I took pills almost reflexively, painkillers upon waking, before sleeping, and sometimes even after eating. But no one had told me that over time this can bring other problems: stomach damage, high blood pressure, dependence, and worst of all, they stop working. I'm not saying you should reject medications. I'm saying they shouldn't be the only solution, nor taken like candy. You need to know why you're hurting, not just silence the alarm. Covering the symptom without looking for the cause is like fixing a leak with paper towels. Third mistake, not adapting your environment. I thought the pain was only inside me, until I realized it also came from what surrounded me. I slept on an old mattress, sat on a hard chair, and wore shoes that no longer had soles or support. Changing my mattress for a firmer one, placing a lumbar cushion on my chair, and wearing footwear with good cushioning was as important as the oil. Your back needs support, not just rest. What surrounds you can be part of the cure or part of the problem. Fourth mistake, ignoring emotional tension. This one was hard to accept. But yes, stress, worries, bottled up emotions, all of that accumulates, and often it settles in the back. I noticed that on days when I argued, felt anxious, or felt lonely, the pain got stronger. I learned to breathe better, to take breaks during the day, to talk more and keep less inside. We are not just a body. Physical pain is sometimes a cry from the soul. Fifth mistake, using good products but without consistency. Sometimes we think that with a single application everything should change, and if it doesn't improve on the first day, we throw it away. I did that with many creams. With magnesium oil, it was different because I forced myself to use it every night for a week, without failing. And it was from the third or fourth day that I began to see real results. I also made sure it was a quality product, because if you use something cheap, poorly formulated or expired, no matter how much you apply it, it won't do anything. I made all these mistakes, and maybe you have too. But the good thing is that it's never too late to change course. What matters isn't having failed before, but starting to take better care of yourself from today on. Sometimes the only thing your body needs is for you to finally start listening to it. Even though in my case magnesium oil was the great ally, over time I discovered that nature has many more treasures to help relieve back pain and bodily discomfort. And the most beautiful thing is that we're not talking about rare or hard-to-find products. Many of these remedies were used generations ago, when our grandmothers healed with plants, infusions, and massages without needing so many pills. Here I'm sharing other natural oils that have also helped me, or have helped people close to me, and that you can confidently consider. Arnica oil. This oil is a classic for those who suffer muscle or joint pain. It's extracted from a mountain flower and has very potent anti-inflammatory properties. It's ideal when there's localized pain, like a knot or a pull in the lumbar area. I've used it in combination with magnesium on days when my back felt more loaded than normal. Wintergreen oil, Gaultheria. It has a strong aroma similar to menthol, but most importantly, it contains natural salicylates that act as a mild analgesic. It's recommended to apply it diluted in a carrier oil like coconut or almond because it can be a bit intense. A friend of mine who is 83 years old has used it for years and says it's her little secret for when the weather changes and her hip hurts. Ginger oil. Ginger isn't only good for digestion. Its oil has a very pleasant warmth that helps improve circulation and relax the lower back. I used it during an especially cold winter, and it helped keep my back looser in the mornings. It also smells great, like a warm hug. Eucalyptus oil. This oil is excellent when pain comes with tension or stiffness. It has a refreshing and relaxing effect at the same time. You can apply it directly or add a few drops to a hot bath. A neighbor of mine who is 76 years old once told me, "I get into the tub with a few drops of eucalyptus and I come out like new." And he meant it. Turmeric oil. Turmeric is a root with natural anti-inflammatory power, and in oil form, it can be applied directly to painful areas. That said, its color is very strong, so you have to be careful with clothing or sheets, but it's worth it for its soothing effect. A lady I met in a walking group told me she used it on her knees and noticed improvement in only 1 week. Can these oils be combined? Yes. They can be alternated depending on the time of day or the type of pain. For example, magnesium at night and arnica in the morning. The important thing is not to use them all at the same time without knowing how your skin will react. If you're going to combine them, start with just one and test little by little. Whenever possible, use pure oils without artificial perfumes or colorants. And how do you integrate them into your routine without complicating things? Very easily. Here are some tricks that have worked for me. After a shower, With the skin still warm and dry, apply the oil with gentle massage. Before sleeping, use the oil as part of a relaxing ritual, accompanied by deep breathing. During the day, carry a small bottle in your bag or pocket in case the pain shows up while you're out. Use them as an excuse to care for yourself more, giving yourself a moment, a space, just for you. I know many older people who have regained quality of life thanks to these oils. Everyone has a favorite, but they all agree on the same thing. Nature doesn't shout, but when you listen to it, it has a lot to offer. And if you're on that path of seeking something kinder, more human, to care for your body, maybe these oils will be good companions for you too. For many years, I thought living with pain was inevitable. I thought it was part of getting old, that at a certain age the body simply gets tired, and you have to learn to endure it, to be quiet, to accept it. But today, I know it doesn't have to be that way. Today I can calmly say that a life without pain is possible. Not perfect, not magical, but more comfortable, freer, more yours. It doesn't matter if you're 60, 70 or 80 years old. It's never too late to improve your quality of life. It's never too late to seek alternatives that respect your body. It's never too late to try something different, even if you start with a bit of skepticism. Because sometimes, that small change can open the door to a new stage. Lighter, fuller. I know what it's like to wake up tired because pain didn't let you sleep. I know what it's like to feel you depend on others just to get out of bed. I know what it's like to lose hope. And that's why I say this to you with all my heart. Don't resign yourself. Don't get used to pain as if it were part of you. Don't normalize it. And above all, don't think it's too late to feel better. Magnesium oil, in my case, was a simple but powerful tool. But the most important thing wasn't the oil itself. It was deciding to take care of myself differently, to take myself seriously, to choose to believe something could improve. And if you're watching this video, maybe it's because you too are looking for that sign, that little push, that testimony that tells you, yes, it's possible. And if this story, this simple, honest account, can help you take that first step, then sharing it was already worth it. Because if I learned anything in these years, it's that pain shared hurts less, and hope shared grows. So if you're going through something similar, I'd love to read you in the comments. How many years old are you? Where are you watching this video from? Have you tried any natural remedy that worked for you? Your experience can help someone else. And if you want more tips like this, more real stories and natural solutions to grow older with dignity and well-being, subscribe to the channel. Thank you for being here, for listening to me, and for giving yourself a new chance.